Hey everybody, and welcome to Let's Look at the Yawhg. Apologies for skipping past the title screen there, but it did say press any key. In any case, this is a game that is coming out from Damien Sommer and Emily Carroll, and it's not really a game in the traditional sense. It's more of an interactive narrative, or a choose-your-own-adventure book, if you will. In fact, the game that I would like to possibly relate this to most that has come out recently is a game like Monster Loves You, where you kind of like create your character and you choose what they do almost in, and I don't mean this derisively, but almost in like a dating sim style way, at least mechanically, where like you choose to where to spend your days, what activities to do to affect your attributes, and then eventually, you know, you progress through your life and some consequences happen. This is like that. It's like Monster Loves You, but instead of being, you know, like a Monsters Inc. type thing, it's much darker. I think Josh played it and he described it as kind of Lovecraftian. I don't know if I'd go that far, but it definitely has kind of a dark comic bend to it that is really interesting. Anyway, we're going to start playing this and I'll talk a little bit more about the game. But what's really neat about this, or potentially completely irrelevant depending on your standpoint, is that you can play as at least 2 characters, but up to 4. So you can play, you know, with as many characters as you want. It doesn't functionally make that much of a difference. This could make it possible for you to play multiplayer with a friend if you wanted to, but it's not multiplayer in the traditional sense where you like both control your players simultaneously. You choose when to do your actions. So you know what, why don't we play as Blue Lady and Big Angry Man here, and we will start up the game. And we will get a lot of kind of flavor text here. It's not really flavor text, it's actually like highly relevant, that will indicate and kind of set the mood for what's going to happen. So the Yawhg will be here in 6 weeks and no one expects it. Not a one of us, we just keep living our lives week by week unaware. It also has almost like a pixel style interface going on here, but the art is really beautiful. It's almost like, and I hesitate to say this because I don't know if the artist might be offended, but it strikes me, at least on my, you know, neophyte level, as a little bit Tim Burton-esque. It reminds me a little bit of the art in Don't Starve, for example. But I guess it's just that kind of like Victorian Gothic style. I don't know if I'm making myself look like a fucking idiot right now. Anyway, so we're controlling Blue Lady first, and we have a number of options for places that we can go. We can go to the Forest, Arena, Alchemy Tower, Gardens, Palace, Tavern, Hospital, and Slums. And each one of these is going to have 2 actions possibly associated with it. So why don't we start, we'll do her from the bottom to the top. That came out wrong. So we'll do Slums, Hospital, Tavern, Palace, and then with our dude, we'll do Forest, Arena, Alchemy Tower, Gardens. So we'll start in the Slums, and we'll go there, and I can either pickpocket or fight crime. Let's be a nice lady and have her fight crime. So she spends the week outsmarting and beating up criminals. You gain 1 mind, 1 physique, and 1 finesse. These are our attributes or stats, which I think in almost like a tabletop or pen and paper RPG style dictate or influence the kind of actions that will happen to us later in this encounter here, for example. So, one night you hear a woman whisper at you from nearby. Hey you, she calls out, looking to make a bit of coin. And then you can see our stats come up here. We have 0 wealth, as you can see, but we're otherwise well balanced. So you know what, why not? I'm always up for more coin. She signals for you to go into the alleyway with her. Come closer, she says. No one else can hear what I'm about to tell you. You lean in close, eager to learn how you'll be earning this coin. She presses herself right up against you, moving her lips slowly towards your ear. Suddenly, she bites your neck viciously. Blood pours from the wound, and she clings to you, tightly lapping it all up. You black out. When you come to, you see her standing over you. Thanks, she says, tossing you a couple coins. You gain 1 wealth. She then melts into the shadows. When you feel your neck, you notice your wound is completely healed. Your body feels ice cold. You gain 3 charm, but lose 3 physique. So I guess we've become a vampire now. These are the kind of things that can happen. It might seem like it starts out, you know, kind of innocuous, but I've had things go terribly, terribly wrong in the time that I've spent with the game so far. So now we're a vampire, which is interesting. Why don't we take our dwarf dude into the forest here, and we'll have him chop some wood. You spend the week cutting down trees for the village. By the way, apologies if you're the kind of person who gets annoyed when I read dialogue on screen. It's unavoidable. So we chop down trees for the village. We earn 2 physique and 1 wealth. One day you come across a group of people in the woods. From the expressions on their faces, they appear to be lost. Should we rob them or help them? Again, let's be a nice dude and help them. We're preparing for the apocalypse here. You confront the group and try to help them find their way back to town. You can't seem to figure out where you are and lead the group around in circles for hours. One of them asks you how you managed to find your way home at night. This doesn't seem good. You don't actually know. So we didn't gain or lose anything there, which I guess is better than being turned into a vampire. They say the last time it came, the Yawhg devoured houses whole, stole lives, tore families and family members apart. But that was so very long ago. It also has kind of like a Roald Dahl vibe to it, if you've ever read any Roald Dahl books with the kind of darker over or undertones. Why don't we take her to the hospital now? I want to point out that each one of these encounters, I wouldn't necessarily say it's random. I have encountered doubles, but there's more than one, and there's, I assume, several, because I've only seen a couple duplicates in the 3 or 4 games of the Yawhg that I've played so far. So it's not every time you go to the forest, you're not going to encounter that group. Sometimes a big angry hand will pull you into another dimension and slowly tear your flesh off, piece by piece, and eat it for eternity. Then you come back and find you've only been gone for a day. That's the kind of game this is. Let's go to the hospital, and you know what? We'll clean up at the hospital. You spend the week steeling your mind against the horrors of the hospital, making sure it's as clean as it can be. You gain 1 mind, 1 physique, and 1 wealth. That's good. Earn some money. That'll be handy after the Yawhg comes. Over the course of the week, you've noticed your skin becomes paler and your teeth sharper. Oh, so we are seriously transforming into a vampire. You notice that whenever you talk, everyone nearby hangs on your every word. You gain 3 charm. You also feel more frail and gaunt than you're used to. You lose 3 physique. One day you notice a woman tilting your head back, brushing her hair, her neck fully exposed. You can even see a vein or two. Delicious. Before you know it, you're coated in blood with a mangled form in front of you. There are dozens of people around, and they're all filled with delicious nectar. The next few hours are a blur. You wake up the next day in bed sheets soaked with blood that is not your own. Oh man, if I had a nickel for every time that's happened. You look in the mirror and notice your skin has regained its color and your teeth have dulled. Alright, well, that is horrifying, but we are going to become a remarkably charming person here, which might help us when the Yawhg comes. I don't want to necessarily spoil the surprise, but this phase of the gameplay, this like week 1 to 6, is not actually the entire game. Afterwards, we'll kind of have the option to commit to what we want to do after the Yawhg comes. I'm going to call it the Yawhg, the Apocalypse, whatever. So let's go to the arena, and with our dude, we will compete in fights. You spend the week fighting brutes in the arena. You gain 2 physique and 1 fitness. On one night, on your way home, you spot a rusty dagger on the ground. Let's pick it up. As you pick it up, it begins to dissolve into a black smoke. Within seconds, the blade is gone. Oh, so I must have missed out on another possible cool encounter there. It was on us in a heartbeat, or so the stories go. The earth shook, the air went still. Week 3. So let's continue. Let's go to the tavern and do a little drinking with Our Lady. You spend the entire week getting wasted. If I had a nickel for every time that's happened, let's be honest here. You gain 2 charm and 1 physique. One day while in the tavern, a heated argument erupts between 2 patrons. Soon enough, fists are flying and everybody seems to be joining in on the violence. Let's break up the fight, because again, I'm trying to be nice and we have a ton of charm. So I think that might actually influence how this actually goes for us. I don't think it's just like a totally random dice roll. I think it's a weighted dice roll depending on your attributes. But I don't know the mechanics, like background side of how this goes behind the scenes. Before you know it, everybody's calmed down and chatting to each other like nothing ever happened. Thanks for that. We get to 1 wealth. I really hoped we'd get some more charm for that. Let's go to the Alchemy Tower, and for this, I'm kind of just demonstrating like all of the possible instances that we can have, or all of the options that we have with each week. We'll do another run through of the Yawhg quickly after we finish this one, where we'll try to like specialize our character and make them like really primed to have some good job after the Yawhg hits. So let's clean the lab here, because I don't feel confident in this guy to brew a potion. You're paid 1 wealth, you gain 1 physique and 1 magic. One day while in the tower, one of the alchemists asks you to watch his potion while he's out. Soon after he leaves, the potion begins bubbling out of control. If you don't do something soon, it'll explode. Let's drink it, see what happens. You quickly drink the potion. Your stomach acids seem to have quelled the potion's fury. You gain 2 magic. That's actually pretty good. And then the world was a howling fury, chaos, screaming, the sound of all we know being pulled in half. We are on week 4. So we'll go to the palace, and why don't we have our beautiful vampire here attend the ball. You spend the week attending fancy gatherings. You gain 2 charm and 1 finesse. She's quite the charmer now. One day the court jester approaches you. Would you like to learn to juggle? He asks excitedly. I'll teach you everything I know for a small sum. You know what? Minus 1 wealth to learn how to juggle? Sure, why not? You improve dramatically, you gain 2 finesse, and another 2 finesse, and we lose 1 wealth. Fair trade. Finally, we'll go to the gardens, and why don't we have our dude landscape? It kind of looks like he's about to castrate that elephant, I guess. You spend the week maintaining the plants in the royal garden. You gain 1 finesse, 1 physique, and earn yourself 1 wealth. One day, an old woman approaches you. I have a small pouch of magic beans. Would you be interested in purchasing them? Of course I would. Whenever anybody offers you anything, pay them money for it. That is my philosophy on life. Later, you decide to plant these beans in a small, rarely visited part of the garden, and that might be the end. When it arrives this time, how will we fare? Will we once more rebuild, move on, be strong, or have we forgotten? That is kind of like the crux of every run-through of the Yawhg, is will you be able to, you know, help your people become... Oh, we can't go to the hospital anymore because we destroyed it. Will you be able to help your people become, like, important cogs in the machine of, like, the post-Yawhg universe? Or will, like, society crumble because of your decisions, basically? So we'll have her meditate in the garden. She gains 1 magic and 2 mind. One day she comes across a golden ring in the grass. Let's wear the ring, see what happens. Orange glowing markings have appeared on the outside of the band. The markings unravel themselves in front of you. They form into what appears to be a fully armored ghost radiating a beautiful orange light. The ghost turns to you and nods before walking away. The ring looks good on you. You gain 1 charm. The elephant in the room obviously being that ghost thing. Let's have our dwarf here do some administrative work, so we're gaining wealth. That's good, you know, maybe I can become some kind of jeweler or banker when the apocalypse happens. We didn't understand the joke, unfortunately. Let's try and figure out the joke on our own. We have a decent mind here. Several hours later, you figure it out, and a small chuckle is had. All that thinking gave your mind a workout. You gain 1 mind. All right, so this is our last week here. Let's just go through this quickly. We'll have our lady bet on some fights. Maybe she can get some extra wealth. Yeah, she got 2 wealth. One day in between matches, you stumble upon one of the higher ranked fighters ingesting illegal strength potions. Please, miss, don't report me, she cries. I'll even share some of my potion with you. Sure, let's take her offer. And she'll give me some potion, which might give me some physique or something. Yeah, +2 physique, awesome. And we'll have our dude go to the tavern and he can bartend, because his wealth is pretty good. You earn 1 wealth and tips and gain 2 charm. One day an impromptu drinking contest is held. Obviously we're going to enter this. You down pint after pint, drinking as if your life depended on it. After your drinking frenzy, you take a quick look around and notice you're the only one conscious. You clumsily take the cash prize and make your way home. You earn 2 wealth. Beautiful. Okay, so now that is the end of phase 1 of the Yawhg. Now we are entering phase 2. Which is very quick, by the way. This should be over in like 2 or 3 minutes, the first run. The storm arrives in the night. By the morning, it still rages. For 3 full days, the tempest puts us through a grinder, drowns us, crushes us, ruins us. But then it ends. We see the graveyard our home has become. Our home. Does anything yet live? Is it, or are we, past saving? So, oh, I hit the button by accident. That's so stupid. I always do that, actually. So basically, what you do here is you choose your role at the end of the apocalypse. So unfortunately, I probably should have taken the leader, because my vampire lady has so much charm, but I hit enter too fast and made her take the builder. So she's going to help rebuild the town by hand. She did gain some physique from that strength potion. Let's see how she fares. You can barely manage to lift up a brick. This probably doesn't bode well. You end up dropping and breaking so many supplies that you actually hinder the rebuilding effort. That's really bad. Okay, but our dude, how is he doing? He had money, so I'm going to make him the smelter. You volunteer to smelt your now useless coins into building materials. Your former riches provide a wealth of metal for survivors to build with. This helps the survival effort immensely. Okay, so lady didn't do so hot. Dude did okay. You lose a lot of money in the process, though, obviously. That's fine. Let's see what happens now. And so we set about our tasks once more, living our lives, this time in a way we might never have expected or even wanted. But in the end, we were defeated. No! So, you know, in the end, you can either succeed or be defeated. And we were defeated probably because I put my lady on the builder category by accident. Those of us left struggled to put our home to rights, but the effort was futile, doomed. The city bled survivors, eventually becoming a husk, a dead thing, and perhaps the Yawhg was only partially to blame. And there is the husk of our city. So that is a typical run-through, or a typical first run-through, at least, of the Yawhg. Demonstrates the way that I played through the game. We actually have like a post-mortem of each of our characters here. With crime rampant in the ruins of your former village, you decide to take action. Over the next 2 years, you built an underground fortress filled with magical gadgets to aid you in your quest. Criminals learn to fear your name as you end them one by one. Well, that's not so bad for that lady. How about this dude? The town in shambles, you're too afraid to go anywhere else. One day someone offers you strength potions in exchange for your services as a bodyguard. You happily oblige. After a few strength potions, you become strangely dependent on them, craving them constantly. They take a huge toll on your body, and your health deteriorates quickly. On the outside, you look like a hulking beast, but your insides are rotted and limp. One day you have too many potions. Your corpse is found face down in a puddle of vomit and foam. Man, oh yeah, this is not necessarily a game that is designed to put a big smile on your face, but it's darkly comic. It's depressing, but in that depressingly comedic style, if that makes any sense at all. So here, you know, we get the credits here. You may or may not recognize some of those names. Like Drokin, for example, who did Starseed Pilgrim, and actually the sound designer for Starseed Pilgrim did some of the music for this game. Let's do another game here, and we'll mix it up, and we'll try to play a more specialized version. So let's play 2 people again, and we'll play as this dude, I think, and this lady as well, lady in red, if you will. And we'll try to specialize, because this is what I've tried to do in like future playthroughs, or playthroughs after my first one. My first one, I actually got super lucky and succeeded. So let's decide. Red lady, maybe we will try to make her a magician. So we'll keep sending her to the alchemy tower to brew potions. So I'm going to skip over like most of the text for the start here, but then we'll just go over the FTL style instances. So one day an artificer stops by for a visit. She's adorned with magical gadgets and gizmos and is followed everywhere by her clockwork spider. The alchemists at the tower all go out of their way to impress the artificer, offering her an array of potions and elixirs. As she's leaving, she adorns the most charming of the alchemists with a special trinket. I am not charming, so I don't get it. And we have our dude here. Why don't we try to make our dude super charming so he's like the ultimate leader? So we'll have him bartend at the tavern over and over. And we'll see if this works. So we gain 1 wealth and tips and 2 charm. One day an impromptu drinking contest is held. Let's enter it, see what happens. We end up blacking out. So this is like the negative consequence of the drinking competition. Your clothes are nowhere to be found, and you seem to be the only one home. What happened? So we didn't lose anything there, but we didn't gain anything either. So we'll continue brewing potions here. This will continue to give us magic in mind. One day they all decide to take a break from work and instead throw a cantrip party. One alchemist waves his hands and produces confetti in front of him. Another spawns a seemingly endless number of doves from his sleeves. Then all the alchemists turn to you and see what you can come up with. Let's do a simple trick. We don't want to do a complex trick because I think that's high risk, high reward. Simple trick is probably like Low risk, low reward. By snapping your fingers, you change your eyebrow color. Not bad, one of the alchemists say. You gain 1 magic. That's fine by me. Free magic. We'll continue bartending here. We gain 1 wealth and 2 charm. One day a fortune teller sets up one of the tavern's tables. She offers to read anybody's fortune for a small sum. Sure, why not? You spend 1 wealth. She begins showering me with promises of love and wealth. She doesn't really go into any detail. God damn you, cold reading! You can't help but feel that this is all an act. Underwhelmed and slightly poor, you can't help but feel like you wasted your money. Alright, that's fine. Shit happens. It's only 1 wealth. 1 day's work to get some fortune telling. We will continue brewing potions with this lady here. We gain 2 magic and 1 mind. One day you hear one of the alchemists shout Eureka. When you look over to see what he's done, you spot a small, previously dead ferret come to life. I figured out the antidote to death, the alchemist exclaims. The undead ferret lets out a horrific noise and lumbers about slowly. Let's praise the alchemist's accomplishment, which will probably give us some charm. That's amazing, you say, slightly discomforted by the ferret's presence. You didn't hurt his feelings, so you gain 1 charm. All right, and we'll continue to bartend. Apologies if this is repetitive, but this is also a good way to kind of demonstrate the number of different kind of like encounters or conditions that you can come across here. By the way, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that I love the art in this game and I fucking adore the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack is really, really well done. So you spend the week serving drinks at the tavern. We gain 2 charm, 1 wealth. One day the tavern throws its annual dart tournament. Of course you're gonna enter. We sign up. We play the worst game of darts anybody's ever seen. You come in dead last. Well, at least we didn't lose anything for that. At least our guy's having fun adventures at the tavern, if you will. So we're on week 4 again. Brew potion. See what we get here. 2 magic, 1 mind. One day, one of the alchemists asks you to watch his potion while he's out. We've seen this one before, so maybe there's only like 6 for each one, for each like action you can take. Let's throw it out the window, see what happens. It emptied into the town's water supply. Quick thinking, you gain 1 mind. That's one way to put it. You take off early for the day, hoping no one finds out. Again, we'll bartend at the tavern. You earn 1 wealth and tips and gain 2 charm. One day a bard pulls out his lute in the bar and starts playing a tune. Unfortunately, his singing is horrible and is ruining the tavern's atmosphere. That's called karaoke night, man. Just embrace it. We're gonna challenge him to a lute duel. You only just start playing the lute when you realize that you're even worse than the bard. The bard easily outplays you in motions for you to lay down your lute. There's a couple people snickering at you right now. Very embarrassing. Onwards to week 5. I don't know if this is gonna work, by the way, but even if it does, don't take this as me being like, oh, I've min-maxed the Yawhg, like I understand how to beat it now. The whole point of this game, and the reason I'm not doing like an hour-long video, is because you're supposed to see all this stuff for yourself and kind of create your own narrative, if you will. So your narrative should be different than mine, hopefully, unless you're just trying to MLG it for some reason. So we gain 2 magic and 1 mind. We hear cries for help coming from the next room. Running over to investigate, you see that the alchemists there have accidentally created an ooze monster. How do you dispatch the ooze? Let's blast it with magic. We have 16 magic, which is really good. So we pulverize it with an array of magical spells. The alchemists all cheer. You gain 1 charm. Destroy a monster, gain 1 charm. And, you know, finally, we'll bartend again. 1 wealth and tips, 2 charm. One day a heated argument erupts between the patrons. We should have crazy charm. Yeah, 15. So we'll jump on top and get these guys to stop it. Yeah, they have all stopped fighting each other. We've gained 1 wealth, and we have 1 more week. Now, I've got to remember not to accidentally hit enter and make myself the builder, as I do so often. So we're going to brew potions. We spend the week experimenting with different potion brews. Nothing out of the ordinary happens to you this week, okay? That's fine. The apocalypse is coming. That's probably enough excitement for 1 week. You earn 1 wealth. Nothing out of the ordinary happens to you this week. Okay, here we go. I don't want to... There we go. Okay, so we want Our Lady to be the conjurer, because she has great magic. You take it upon yourself to help conjure up supplies for the town. With your magic, you summon supplies of the highest caliber. With little effort, you're summoning high-quality lumber and food from out of nowhere. This helps the rebuilding effort significantly. And we want our bartender to be the leader because his charm is so high. You take it upon yourself to be the leader of the survivors. You expertly delegate and prioritize tasks. You give motivating speeches and act as an effective mediator in disputes. This helps the rebuilding effort significantly. I think I might have won the Yawhg for once. So, in the end... do we succeed? We flourished. Towers once wrecked and ravaged rose towards the sky. Trees again took root then blossomed. We all blossomed. And though it took a long while, and though it took a lot from us, our future is bright. Should the Yawhg ever return, we will be ready. Look at that. It's a beautiful, beautiful city right there. In any case, that is 2 wildly divergent playthroughs of the Yawhg. I will put a link in the video description if you want to pick up this game again. I think it's going to be... I hesitate... Oh, wait, we have the postmortem. My mistake. With the town fully rebuilt, you spend more and more time in the alchemy tower. Alright, your potion brewing ability has quickly become among the best in the world. Your health and mana potions are considered world-class delicacies, with people venturing far and wide to buy them, but you never learn how to brew a love potion. Again, always that either a dark cloud with a silver lining, or a silver lining with a dark cloud, or a silver cloud with a dark lining. Anyway, whatever. With the old tavern owner dying in the Yawhg, you decide to take on the task. Before long, the tavern's busier than ever, filled with good music, games, and friends. Your tavern's doing so great that every other tavern in the area has closed down. You start a chain of taverns throughout the city to fill the demand. Each new tavern you open makes it more difficult to manage all of them. Oh no! You begin enacting policies that make it even easier to keep track of how the taverns are being run. The taverns all start to become bland and uninteresting places to be, but since you have a monopoly, you're still making ridiculous amounts of money. Alright, well, you know, there's positives and negatives. Again, not postmortem, but kind of outro for this video. This has been the Yawhg. Really interesting game. Between this and Monster Loves You, I like the Yawhg a lot more than Monster Loves You. I was kind of mixed on that game. On this one, I'm much more positive. I know Josh likes it a lot too, so feel free to go check out, you know, Jason Smith OTI's video on this if you want a confirming or a second opinion here, which I believe is pretty similar to mine. This is a lot of fun to play. It is, it's a narrative. It's not a game. I'm not going to get into the semantic argument about what is and what isn't a game, but this is not a game in the traditional sense of the word. But at the same time, it's kind of like an interactive digital choose-your-own-adventure book, which I think is a lot of fun. I believe it is $5 if you pre-order it, and it might be $10 after that, but either way, there will be a link in the video description below to pick it up if you're interested. Really, I'm a big fan of this game. It's unusual, but I like it a lot. Hopefully, you know, that kind of came across here, and hopefully you didn't necessarily hate my narrative reading skills. In any case, as always, thanks for watching. Again, peep the video description for a link to pick up the Yawhg, or just check out the game's website. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video and found it entertaining, and I will see you next time.